Hello Super Sentai fans, and welcome back to Toku Topics. Today it's time for the, I guess at this point, annual anniversary Ranger Key set review. Today we're taking a look at the newest set of Ranger Keys that just came out here just this past month in January of 2024. I'm reviewing it here in February of 2024, and that is the Anniversary Heroes and Donbrothers Memorial Edition key set. This set is pretty much structured exactly like the Anniversary Heroes and Donbrothers set that was released at the beginning of 2023, where it had the Donbrothers as a brand new team of keys that we never had before, plus all the teams that were the anniversary of that year, basically all the teams ending in 6. This year, same exact thing, we have the 7 King-Ohger Ranger keys right here in the front, and then we have Anniversary Memorial Editions of all of these teams that also end in 7. So we have the 7th Sentai, Dynaman, the 17th, Dairanger, the 27th, Abaranger, and the 37th, Kyoryuger, plus brand new, never-before-released Ranger keys for the King-Ohgers. Now, this set is a little frustrating for a number of different reasons, and we'll kind of get into that here at the beginning here. I am not as big of a fan of this set as I was of the Donbrothers set. That set was kind of annoying to have to buy all these teams again if you already have them in their deluxe formats from the original toy line of keys, all that kind of things. If you bought the 35 Red Memorial set, there was a lot of duplicates in there and that kind of thing, which is incredibly frustrating, and this set is no exception. I will say, though, this set is probably a little bit more worth it because of the keys that are getting repackaged in here, a lot of which were already only premium released in the first place or were Gashapon exclusive in the original toy line. In fact, this is an upgrade for pretty much every single key in here besides the Abarangers. The Abarangers did get a deluxe Ranger key set back in the Gokaiger toy line, so they already had really good versions of their keys. We really didn't need any Abarangers, especially since Aba Red and Abaranger Killer have already been released in the Memorial line, which I will do a comparison on. However, Dynaman, 4 members of which were only Gashapon keys in the original toy line, so I don't have any qualms with the rest of those being here. The Dairangers, same kind of thing. Everybody except for Rear Ranger was a Gashapon exclusive. 4 of them were premium exclusive in the very first premium Gashapon key set, which was released as kind of the bookend to the original key line. The Kyoryuger set was the first premium team exclusive set that they did, and is one of the most expensive Ranger key sets on the aftermarket. So they actually have a good chance and a lot cheaper way, relatively, to get a pretty decently complete set of Kyoryugers. We'll get into that when we get there. Is good. And then, of course, these 7 keys in the front have never been released before, so of course they're worth it as well. So it's a kind of thing where if you're not a big key collector in the past, you're probably going to really like this set. It gets you a lot of really good keys in their best formats. However, there are some issues with it, so let's go ahead and dive into those issues. So on the box, which I didn't show off earlier because I already took a look at it in my Project Unlock episode, basically they have the promo renders that they had for the keys, and I'll put probably a better picture of the render up on the screen. And they show the 7 King-Ohgers. Now all these keys on here are like a CGI kind of thing, and on here they're all absolutely correct, and I don't know if you can really see it here on the box. Like I said, a better picture will be coming up with some circles, especially because Bandai pointed it out themselves. The King-Ohger keys were designed properly in the pictures. There's this design on the King-Ohgers, so you can see here there's like this kind of like armor plate right there. On Spider-Kuminos, he has 2. So there's like these 2 little like rectangles kind of things, right? On Kyoryuger and the main King-Ohgers, there's only 1. Spider-Kuminos has 2. As you can see right there on Spider-Kuminos, he has the 2 little printing there. Everybody else should have like 1 little rectangle, and everybody has 2. They just painted the same Spider-Kuminos leg printing on everybody, which is not correct. Now, Bandai has acknowledged that that is the case, and they actually basically showed off this kind of comparison on their blog. They're like, hey, yeah, we acknowledge the keys were wrong, so there's actually going to be a replacement program for those keys. You're going to have to, I think, possibly mail the keys back or something. From what I understand, it's a really convoluted process. I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to be able to do that, or if I'm going to have to just buy the new versions on Buy or something like that. But yeah, there's these, and this is misprinted on everybody's set. This is not just mine. Everybody's set has the King-Ohger keys printed incorrectly, and there's going to be a replacement set of 6 of them, because Spider-Kuminos is correct, so they're not replacing Spider-Kuminos, they're just going to be replacing these guys, which means it would be somewhat easy-ish to buy a set of either, like, you know, if people are selling the fixed set, or if people are selling this in proper set, it would be somewhat possible to get the KingOhger keys relatively maybe cheaper or easier than you would if people were piecemealing the set apart than other sets. Kind of, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. But yeah, I hate that. That really annoys me that that was a big oversight, because it was designed correctly in the promo shots and then it came out and it was wrong. So, don't know what happened there, but that makes me kind of hate these keys, actually. I don't like them, except for Spider Kuminos. He's amazing. But the other ones, no, not really. Alright, diving into the old keys here, we have the 7th Sentai, Kyoryuger Sentai, Dynaman. So, this is a set of keys that, like I said earlier in the video, they are pretty much all upgraded from their original Gashapon exclusive versions. So I am perfectly content with these keys here. Now, of course, we did already get Dyna Red in the 35 Red Memorial key set, which I have right here, which I had closed or opened to make sure I knew which one was which. And they are different, actually. So, I didn't realize that, but they actually are totally different. The paint lines are a little bit different. This is a little thinner, I feel, but you can really see it in the helmets. You get this really nice detail there, which is not present right there. So I didn't even know that. So that's actually really cool. So at least I actually know what the difference is. So kind of like how there were some minor upgrades in the like Hurricaneger keys and stuff like that, and the last time they did this in the Dairanger keys, the Dynaman keys here, at least Dyna Red, did get a little upgrade. So I actually really appreciate that. So Dyna Red here is the definitive version of this key. Of course, if you use it in the Mobirates, you have the whole Memorial Edition button. Every key in this set can do that. Any Mobirates, this is going to work. You all know how this goes by now. We're not going to spend too much time on these older keys, but they are very nice. So here is Dyna Blue, which I got somewhat recently in a Project Unlock episode, but really nice printing up there on the helmets. I'm pretty impressed by that. And it's also just super nice to have these keys in a deluxe memorial style with the nice metallic key pieces and no copyright information on the stickers and fully painted. And it's always so nice. So here is Dyna Pink. Once again, looking good. Happy with that. And then we have Dyna Yellow right here, which also looks really good. And then finally, last but not least, the last Dynaman that I got his original release of, Dyna Black. And I will say, and you can really see here, and I wanted to use him as an example because of this. So here is the original Gashapon Dyna Black. As you can tell, the sticker's already kind of peeling on it. So just to kind of show you the upgrades there. But I will say the printing doesn't seem to be as good of a quality. You can see how kind of light the white is on the arms and the legs here. It's a lot better and clearer on this original Gashapon key than it is on the Memorial, to be quite honest. But this one is painted and not stickered, so like, you know, I kind of obviously prefer this one to have some nice accurate hinges and everything. But the printing is a little less good quality as you would expect and hope for. But overall, Dynaman didn't really need much of an upgrade other than just kind of being no longer Gashapon exclusive. And yeah, pretty good. So next up we have the 17th Sentai, Gosei Sentai Dairanger, which are, in my personal opinion, the worst keys in the set, and there's a lot of reasons why, which we'll get into. So this is another one where a vast majority of these are upgrades from their original releases. 4 members, the core 4 members of the team besides Red, were only ever released in the Gashapon Legend Edition set from Premium Bandai back in 2013, and Abaranger was exclusive to Gashapon Set 4. I don't even have a good version of that key that isn't like all yellowed and sticker ripping and stuff, so this is fantastic to finally have that. Of course, this is the White Ranger from Power Rangers, so everybody wants it for that too. However, I cannot understand what they did with these. So, the promo shot, once again, going back to that box, that shows that the Dairanger key hinges have the hinges fully the color of their suit and not with any white on it. And what I mean by that is that basically right here you can see the hinge, only like the center of the hinge piece is their designated color and the rest is white, which is not accurate. Now that's how it was on the original Deluxe Ranger key from back 10 years ago. The Memorial Edition original one, this is from the 35 Red set, was the same way. I don't really see any differences between those two keys. Actually, though, there definitely is. Yeah, these keys suck, man. We'll get into it in a second as well. But I do want to go ahead and pull out, whenever I'm talking about the accuracy of keys, I refer to this book, which is the props of the keys. And as you can see, I'm going to use Dairanger for all the comparisons, and you'll see why in a second. The keys are not supposed to have any white on the hinges, right? They're not supposed to have that. The lines are also supposed to go all the way down to the hinge, and that's how it's supposed to be. That's not how these are. And I don't understand that's how they were in the promo shots for this set, but that's not how they are in the final product. And we'll go ahead and start kind of taking a look at each of these keys with Abaranger, who I absolutely thought was missing some paint there. I 100% thought that was the case. But no, it turns out, which once again we'll refer to the manual, gotta trust the manual, there is no paint there, so okay. So I accept that. But once again, hinge problem. They're all gonna have the same exact problem. Hinge problem, the lines don't go down there. But overall, helmet is really, really good. The helmets were always really good on these. The original Dairanger keys have fantastic helmets. These ones do as well. So there is Abaranger. Then we have Tenma Ranger, which looks pretty solid. I think this is definitely a little bit of a lighter blue than the original Legend Gashapon one was. I'm pretty sure. It's probably a little bit more accurate as well. Kyoryuger, I really don't have any problems with. He's probably somewhat inaccurate, possibly. I guess while we're at it, might as well check the book too. Oh, there goes Kyoryuger's figure that I had up here. But where is he? 6 Rangers are on this page, I think, or somewhere. I mean, that's it's pretty close. The helmet, he definitely still has a smaller visor there than he does on the new one. So it's not perfect, but it is completely passable, I'd say. I like the gold on here. I like the helmet and the shield. Not too bad. Overall, definitely my favorite of the Dairanger keys. Here is Ryuranger, once again, in his second memorial appearance. And you can tell which one is which, just like with Dynaman, because for some reason, on the original one, this one is more accurate. This one has a thicker black line on the helmet, which I'm not sure which one of those is more accurate, to be honest. But this one is more accurate because of the lines go all the way to that little rectangle. The lines on this one do not. The hinge is still wrong. So both of these are still wrong, but this one is more right. I just, I don't understand. Also, the printing on this set is terrible. I pointed this out on the Dynaman set, or on the keys like a minute ago. Like, look how much more vibrant the white is there. I don't know if it's just coming across in real life or not, but it's definitely a lot faded, or not as like thickly applied, too many layers or something on this one. It's a lighter print, and that does kind of bother me. But I mean, overall, it's fine. Yep. So here is Dairanger. Definitely a lighter color for him, which we'll compare in a second. And then finally, Kyoryuger. Exactly what you would expect. Since he's on the floor, we'll just go ahead and carefully grab him and use him as our Pirates example. You, of course, already know what it's going to do, but might as well. Of course, says Dairanger. But for one last comparison to the original keys, I just wanted to show Dairanger compared to his original release. So as you can see, the original Gashapon one was definitely a lot darker. The lines were a little bit more thinner there. Definitely not as vibrant of a gold, of course, the sticker, but because it was a sticker, it had the correct application where there was no white on the hinges, and the lines could go all the way down to that rectangle. So this is still technically more accurate. I kind of honestly prefer the original Dairanger keys to the memorial ones. Even the color, I know this is a little bit more accurate to the color, but I kind of like the color on this one a little bit better, but yeah, it's just kind of an overall mess, honestly. It bothers me. I don't understand why they got it right on the set box, and even technically in the previous release, kind of, with that, and then they mess it up. I don't know. The 27th Sentai, Bakuru Sentai Abaranger, is the next team in this set, and I don't have any problems with these ones for the most part. They're actually perfectly fine. So, the only thing that they kind of suffer from is that same sort of really kind of, dim-ish, not like it needs like one more coat of the printing. You see how you can kind of see the lines of the mold there on the white. It's just not that great, but for the most part I have no problems with the keys themselves. They look exactly what I would want them to look like. The Abaranger keys, pretty much like, if I want to double check it, but they don't have those lines on them, or the little squares. So, or what are they, diamonds, triangles, like on the suit there? They're not on the key prop, so I'm perfectly content with that not being there. I know some people have always kind of wanted those to be there, but it doesn't bother me because the prop didn't have them. We'll come back to Abaranger because that's the one that I want to compare with older stuff, along with this one. But here's Red, which, because of that printing issue, does make it, I think, the original one from the 35 red set is better. However, I like the helmet on the new one better, because the helmet has a smaller visor there. It's a lot thicker there. This looks like a more accurate helmet to me. It's actually a really good helmet recreation, I think, of Red. So, like, yeah, it's just the printing. Like, you can really see it there. Like, you can see, like, the line there, and you can almost see the red poking through the white. But on here, it was really nicely, cleanly applied. So I don't know what happened there to make these keys in this set just not have as good of a printing. Here's Abara Yellow, which is the first time Abara Yellow and Blue have been re-released since their original Abaranger key set. And then Abara Black is our final Tommy key, if you're keeping track of that. So now all 5 of Tommy's Ranger forms have been recreated. I don't remember if the gold trim was on the original key, either the Candy Toy or the Deluxe. I don't recall, honestly, but that's there. Very nice helmet. You got the red line there and everything. Really like this key. Love this suit. I've always loved the Abara Black suit. So, what I want to talk about with Abaranger is really weird. So, just like the other Memorial keys that have been re-released in here from previous Memorial keys, Abaranger is a little bit different than the one that came with the Gokaiger. So here is the Gokaiger one. And if you can tell, the difference is the printing right there. There's 2 little extra bumps that are not there on this one. And then on the visors, there's the extra lines on this one that are not on this one. And what's really strange to me is that this is a rare case to where technically, I mean, this is the better, more accurate to the show, like, suit of Abaranger helmet. You also have the black line there. However, I believe, according to the prop of Abaranger's key, the new Memorial one, I think, is actually technically more accurate. Yeah, so here is the Abaranger prop, and that doesn't have the extra black lines there, and it does have those little dots or those little triangles that are not on this one. So the Gokaiger one is actually less show accurate to the prop than this one, but the original cellular one has a more accurate to the suit helmet. So I don't understand what is going on, but I do technically, I guess, then like this one, the new one, better. Yeah, I guess. I see, it's so strange. But here he is as a key. Like, I just don't understand some of the decisions that were made in this set. And then, just for the fun of it, even though everybody knows what it's going to do, here is Abaranger in the Mobiles. Alright, on to Kyoryuger. Alright, and then the final team of re-released keys before we get to the brand new KingOhger ones is, of course, Juden Sentai Kyoryuger. And Kyoryuger's selection of keys here is really strange to me. So, of course, Kyoryuger has a lot of Rangers in it. 11, technically 12, obviously more than that if you count all these different variants that they do and stuff like that. And I really don't understand exactly what the thought process was with this, because there's one thing that they include that means that something else absolutely should have been, and then they don't include other things, and I do not get it. So a lot of these keys here were only ever released before in a premium set, which was well over 10 years ago. So it's nice that these are out again for people who never got that. That's great. No problems with that. Kyoryu Pink has actually been released more than once already. because she was also re-released in the Ranger Key Set 2000th edition. So this is our third release of Kyoryu Pink, our second release, of Kyoryu Red, because he was in the After Gokaiger set, and then everybody else is only their second release. So perfectly valid to include Kyoryuger here. I am perfectly good with that. However, it's just some of the choices that are made with some of these keys. So I'm going to go and start with the comparison between Kyoryu Red and his two Memorial Editions. So for the most part, I mean, the key looks fine. Let me zoom in again on here so you can see it a little bit better. Key looks perfectly good. However, so here's the original After Gokaiger set one. So the Kyoryugers have that darker arm print, right? And you can see it's present on the After Gokaiger set, and then it's just not here on this one. I don't know why the other Kyoryugers have it. On everybody else it's present, and it was on the original keys as well. But for Kyoryu Red, also you can see the Gabutira symbol is much larger on the original Memorial one compared to this one. Now this one has the tinier Gabutira symbol, so it matches the rest of the keys here. So this will match a little bit better, but this is more accurate. So, isn't that fun? But for the most part, also you can see for some reason the boot thing, the little boot cuffs are thicker there. I don't know why. But yeah, I do not get it as to why they made some of these changes. Of course, since these are compatible with the Memorial Mobile Arts, you can make them work in here. So I always appreciate that, especially because in the past, the Kyoryuger keys that we had couldn't work in any Mobile Arts. So it is nice to get keys that can. I'm perfectly good with that. These are the definitive version of the Kyoryuger keys in a lot of regards. But, like I said, there's some omissions and some weird things. So that Kyoryu Red, I'd say the original Memorial one is better than this one. Kyoryu Gold suffers the same problem where they didn't paint the darker arms there. Here's the original Kyoryu Gold key. This one is certainly an upgrade, because as you can see, you had the metallic paint not extending to the hinge on the original one, but they did get that slightly darker, different shade of gold. I don't think it really is big of a notice on the Kyoryu Gold one that it's missing than it is on Red, but it is still missing compared to the promo shots. I like the gold used on this one a lot better than the original one. This one was almost kind of starting to lean towards bronze, so I do like this one better a lot, actually, the longer that I'm looking at it. The helmet, I think, also is more accurate, just paint-wise and everything, so that's pretty good. So, not super upset about Kyoryu Gold or anything like that, except for just like the weird arm thing. Everybody else of the main core team is perfectly good. So here's Blue. I think he looks great. Kyoryuger, of course, extremely popular. Power Rangers Dino Charge. They're coming back for a crossover film with KingOhger later on this year, so, you know, makes perfect sense. In fact, I wouldn't even have minded if this set was just Kyoryuger and KingOhger keys. I think it's completely valid, especially since these were all premium in the past to come out again. So I have no problems with that. Here's Kyoryu Green. So, all good with most of these. But we're about to get into the weird ones after we get past Kyoryu Black. So there is them. And there we go. Now, Kyoryuger has a lot of Rangers, obviously. Now, what's really, really strange to me is what they've decided to do here. So, I've never really agreed with the idea that they've done both versions of Cyan, and in the original sets, they did both versions of Gray, and they did both versions of Violet. But what's really bizarre to me is that this set decides to once again do both versions of Cyan, which is kind of alright because you could only get the female version of Cyan in the past with the Deboss set. It wasn't in the original Kyoryuger set. But the same thing can be said with the Alive version of Gray. The Alive version of Gray is not in this set. It was in the Deboss set with the yellow on there. So I have no idea why they've decided to not include this version of Gray in this set when they're already doing both Violets and both Cyans again. I have no idea why this isn't here. I don't know if they just wanted to have the nice perfect 12 Kyoryugers, But you could have still had that. Like, I would say take this out and arguably take him out and have done Navy and Dairanger, since those are technically, well, they are two different Rangers. And then you would have had a really good complete Kyoryuger team. I don't need these variants of Violet and Cyan. I didn't need them the first time. The fact that they already exist is okay, but then it's like, you know, pick or, you know, go all in or don't do it. Like, I don't understand when we got both Cyans, both Violets, but not both Grays. It doesn't make any sense to me. Now, the Cyan keys that we got are really good. I have no problems with that. They did change the shade of it. So here's the original Cyan. I feel like maybe the original one is a little bit more accurate with the color. But this one is perfectly, you know, acceptable. I don't know, the longer I look at it though, I think I do kind of like Kyoryu Cyan's key here, the original one. But this is the original Kyoryu Cyan Ramirez. And then we have the female one that was at the end of the show, which, like I said, was previously only in the Deboth set. So, alright. And then we have the original version of Kyoryu Gray, but not the alive one. So here he is, perfectly good. Like how he turned out, very similar to Kyoryuger, even though he's considered a Gray Ranger, and technically Kyoryuger is, I think, supposed to be considered a silver. Kyoryu Violet, one of my all-time favorite suits. Love this key, love this suit. They did change the shading of the purple as well, compared to the original one. And you know, it all kind of comes down to like lighting and stuff in the show. This maybe is a slightly more accurate purple, but this is perfectly fine. It's a little bright in certain like looks. It kind of looks a little too pinkish to me. But here's the female version of Kyoryu Violet. Same exact thing essentially. And then finally, one of my all-time favorite Ranger suits of all time. So happy to have this in a memorial style key. We have Kyoryu Silver, who I absolutely love. So, like I said, Kyoryuger keys, weird bunch. And there goes people. Don't know why they did what they did. Alright, and finally that brings us to the KingOhger Ranger keys here. A really nice team of keys. I'm glad they waited to announce the set after Kyoryuger and Spider-Kuminos joined the show, because at the time they had just teased Kyoryuger, and obviously it would have sucked if we didn't get the two of them. I wish we would have gotten King Kyoryu Red. They've already made a Kyoryu Red Carnival key in the past, so that would have been nice. But alas, we have this, and I'm happy at least we have this. So taking a look at the keys, barring the incorrect thing that I talked about earlier there, we'll just forget that that's a thing. They're really nice. I think that these captured the look of the KingOhger suits pretty perfectly, honestly. He has a little sticker instead of having a trans stamp kind of print that these usually do. That's what it looks like when I have it on the sticker. But the printing is really good. Really happy with that. Helmet design as well. Since they're memorial, of course, they have the click, as you've been seeing throughout this video. KingOhger logo there on the red. Now, I will show them off in the Mobiles in a minute, what this sound does, because I'm sure people want to know what this does. Of course, Kyoryuger, the Silver Ranger, Gray Ranger, whatever you want to call him, is just the same exact key as Kyoryuger, just a different color, as he should be. So helmet is there. I like the kind of, you know, plastic quality or like color they used for him. I think his key turned out really good. And I'm glad that he was included. Sticker on mine is kind of not perfect there. So there is him. Here is Kyoryuger, probably one of my favorite characters in the show. They do have the nice little detail there on her visor for the mantis, which is really, really nice. Like the distinction of kind of the darker, almost orange kind of outline color. Really makes that pop. Oop, almost forgot to do a key. There it is as a key. Next up we have Kyoryuger. Got the nice silver there for the B. Really nice paint details there. Got even like a little bit of red there. Really happy with this one. Also, they did a fantastic job of having everybody's little symbols there on their chests. So overall, the KingOhger is translated quite well to keys when they printed them correctly. Like this guy, Spider-Kuminos. I absolutely love how he turned out. Love the printing there. I love this suit. I adore this suit. So to have a Ranger key of him, especially when he already uses Ranger keys kind of, is fantastic. So really, really, really like this. Does he have his little red eyes? I guess they didn't paint the little red eyes on the spider, but for the most part, he's pretty perfect. Absolutely love Spider Kuminos. Completes our 6 Rangers yet again. Here is Donbrothers. Just as good as everybody else. These all work pretty well Memorial Key-wise. Sometimes that little button gets stuck a little bit, but... And then here is Kyoryuger to finish off the brand new keys in this set. Nice kind of, not quite pink, not quite purple, just as their suit is, which is fantastic. Although I think they gave it the pink key light, I think. But yeah, let's go and bring in the Mobirates and see what these do. Alright, so here is our Memorial Edition Mobirates. We'll go ahead and get Kyoryuger. Now, with Donbrothers last year, this unlocked the new hero sound. Obviously, we're a year past that, so this phone is now 2 years out of date. So obviously it's not going to say KingOhger as much as I would love it to do so. Let's see what it does. Yeah, we're back to those days. So that's what all the post-Gokaiger keys used to do in like the Legend of Mobirates, the original Mobirates. And now we've come full circle for that. Whoop. Now we've come full circle to where that is what is happening with the KingOhgers as well. And with that is going to do it for my review of the Ranger Key Set Memorial Edition KingOhger set and Anniversary Heroes. So overall, I like it. It's not a bad set. You know, it's a Memorial Key set, so it's really can only be so bad, right? Like it's really not that bad. I like the KingOhger keys a lot, especially since they're being fixed. I wish that some of these Kyoryuger keys were kind of a little bit better. I wish that they kind of made some different choices with who they included in here, and the Dairanger keys really do let me down. But besides that, Dynaman, Abaranger, absolutely no problems with those. For the most part, the KingOhger keys are designed really, really well. I really wish they would have been able to squeeze in King Kyoryuger. That was a big missed opportunity, in my opinion, for that to not be in here. Maybe somehow, someday. I assume that we'll get a Abaranger set later on this year with all the teams ending in 8. And I can't wait to see what they do with that, because that would involve teams like Kyoryuger and Dairanger, so that should definitely be an interesting time. But that's going to do it for this review of this newest Ranger Key set. At the time of this recording, there hasn't been one announced beyond this, so this is the end of the keys in terms of new releases. Of course, I still have Project Unlocks and stuff to finish my backlog. But let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of this set? Are you going to try to get those replacement KingOhger keys? Do some of these problems with the Dairangers and Kyoryugers bother you? What do you just think of the key set in general? How would you have done it differently? Did you pick it up? Did you skip it? Anything about it down in the comments below. I want to hear about it. And of course, until next time, you can follow me on Twitter at LivingRangerKey or LandifigPR, and I'll see you all later. To wrap up this video, I'd like to thank my $5 and above patrons: Jurassic Samurai, Maggot Alchemist, Robert Browning, Static Thunder, Brendan Overland, Maji Yellow, MCPC Studios, James Darty, Matthew Thorne, Josh Landry, Pyramidas, CBT Tesla, Cross SCV, Caboose Ed, Socket Monsters, Daniel Pika, Hella Geo, Thrasher, Jesus Prime, Louis Carnes, and Carlos Alfredo. You can support Toku Topics for as little as $1 a month on my Patreon, linked in the description below.